Aryiku. He's the Executive Director for Helping Africa Foundation, and Mr. Kafui Prebi. He's a CEO for TechAide and Implementers, and he's a Program Manager for the Yamoransa Model. It's good to have all of you here. Welcome back to the show. Doc,
thank you.
It's good to have you.
I am so happy to be here again.
I'm glad to have you too, and you for the first time here. Okay, so who's going to go first? For those who are watching us, I am saying that you're doing some amazing work all the way in Yamoransa, but can you break it down for us what exactly the Yamoransa model is all about? Who's going to go first, Doc?
Thank you.
Our leader.
We have, over the last few minutes, used our model to determine who is best suited to take each of the questions. So thank you. I have been delegated to take the first one. The way that I feel our model goes beyond other models of development is we are iterative. We brainstorm at the beginning of a new project, and all ideas are welcomed. We then discuss it and come to what I'd have to call a Quaker consensus. We are not afraid to make mistakes. We try to learn from them and not make the same mistake a second time. There is a quote about that from Einstein. We believe in good character among ourselves and of anyone who joins our team, and therefore we've come up with a new term, promoter, so that when we go into a new region, due to Japhet's political skills, extensions, and contacts, we now identify a person who's interested in that region, and it's not always obvious without asking them, and then Kafui goes in and meets with them and also comes to consensus, and that person is important enough that I call us fast and flexible. If it turns out, for instance, that some of the people cannot make a dedication due to personal circumstances or whatever, we will still, and we're doing this as we speak, the students will start school on time, but we will delay the dedication until the promoter can be there.
Right.
So we use the model on ourselves.
Okay, but the very first question, I don't know who is supposed to take it then. On what the Yamoransa model is about?
Yeah, so it's a model for sustainable development, basically. And as Deborah said, it's one of the pillars that we use to impact the lives of children using technology. And the vision of Helping Africa Foundation is to provide this ICT or technology literacy across Africa, starting from Ghana. So under the president of the Helping Africa Foundation and the executive director, we are working in 16 regions across the country. Started with 10. But the model is basically a sustainable model where it's a partnership between the Helping Africa Foundation and the community, the local community. So together we craft the solution. Every solution is unique to a particular community.
Okay, so break it down further, if you would allow me. I mean, so you're working in 16 regions.
Yes.
How exactly are you doing it? What are you doing?
Okay, so
we want to appreciate it a lot more.
So when we get into a community, we have a discussion with the director of education as well as the DCE or the municipal chief executive about bringing a technology solution into a particular community. How do we select the communities? As Deborah said, we have a promoter or a sponsor who is interested in sending us into the community. And led by our Helping Africa Foundation Executive Director, we select that unique person who leads us in the community, have a community stakeholder, and we agree on even the location for the project, which is normally an ICT center with 4 unique facilities. It's 2 huge new ICT facilities, a robotics center, as well as a conference room. And this is what we give to every community that we're working. And the selection process is through the Director of Education. Oh,
I see. Well done. You see, I said they're doing some really good work. Let me come to Japhet now.
Yes.
What is your vision for these labs? I don't think that has been answered yet.
Yeah.
Okay, so I see. So which region is that?
I think this was in the is it OT region? They showing,
Yes.
yeah.
This was a T region.
This is OT region. Again, we're going from region to region, and again,
How many regions have you covered so
we've done
far?
8 so far.
8.
We've done 8. We got 3 more on the drawing board. So by the end of the year, we'll have done 11 of these computer centers in 11 regions. And then in 2022, we'll do 2 or 3 more. And then in 2024, we're going to wrap it all up. Now, this is a minimum of 1 computer center in 1 region. But we do have the option of going back to do another computer center in another region where we have already built one, if we find a promoter who is willing to work with us to spread the cost, or if it's very important for us to do so. So we have an example for that we're going back to Kumasi, for example, in Akukari. We've already built 1 computer center in the Ashanti region, but we found a promoter who is willing to work with us. So we're building another one in the Ashanti region. So Ashanti region will have 2 of these computer centers. Now, the big vision of what we're trying to do with this computer center is to sort of enable these students. We're talking about how does it fit into the Sustainable Development Goals. And there are obvious things such as quality education, such as equalizing the playing field, equality of opportunities and all of that. But if you look at the content of these facilities, what we provide for the children in the long term, these ICT education centers, they answer all the questions in all the 17 of the Sustainable Development Goals. I mean, if you talk about life under the water, life on Earth, well, the content of these labs expose the children to the challenges of living on the water and preserving our waters and water bodies and all of that. So it's very exciting project or system that we have that exposes the children to become good citizens of the world, for their own communities and for the countries and for the world as a whole.
Okay, so you say that you're working in all 16 regions, or intend to set up these labs in all 16 regions, but
not simultaneously.
We'll
what we were doing before is Japhet would talk to a president or a newly elected president or a first lady or a second lady, and we were bopping all over the place. And Kafui, being trained not only in IT but also program management, very calmly handed us a 5-year plan that said we will go in an orderly south to north region. So Japhet still fulfills his role, but Kafui pretty much says what the next region will be, and then Japhet finds, or sometimes both of them find the promoter. What has happened that we didn't expect, which shows the strength of the model, is by the time Japhet's contacts and Kafui's contacts and the Ministry of Education contacts and the local elders, leaders, combination of civil society and traditional elders, by the time they all meet and they find what they think is a good building, it has to be a central location. It has to have what we would call a catchment area so that other students can be bussed in and benefit. They decide, the building that we thought was okay is really terrible. Either it's good enough to renovate, or we'll trash it and start over and build you a brand new building. And they actually, with Humphrey Darko, who's a friend of Japhet's originally, financed that. So the aspect that we don't talk about that much is the sustainability of the funding, which we're going to work on. But the first half, which is building and equipping the building, which includes all the electric infrastructure, for instance, that is now taken care of.
Okay.
We're very excited about that.
Yeah.
Okay. I also
so
want us
we're
to
not
talk about
working in all 16 regions at the same time.
time.
We're progressing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, what is your collaboration with the Ministry of Education and the Ghana Education Service like?
Okay, so we do not do any projects in the community without the Education Ministry. So when we enter a district, as I indicated, we go through the Municipal Chief Executive, the Director of Education. So our team schedules all these meetings, and we go with a consultation and a plan of what we intend to build. And as I indicated, we build these new robust ICT centers with the robotics center, with the conference room, and they're expected to choose a location where it gives the maximum output. So with education, we have a very close relationship. Now, after the center is built, the education office, they put the center managers there to run the facilities. The ICT manager is from the education service, and these are the people who are paid by the Ghana Education Service. So we run the facility closely with the Education Ministry, and we've met with the current Minister of Education, who knows what we're doing, and we're dedicating the next 3 labs this year, and hopefully he will be at least at one of those locations. We hope. So we're working closely with the Ministry of Education and impacting lives. And today we have our labs, 8 of our labs touching over 5,000 lives weekly, every week. Technology, education, robotics, and so on and so forth.
And so on. Okay, let me come to you, Doc. Which of the, we have this about 2 minutes, 3 minutes to go. Which of the sustainable development goals do you support the most for this organization?
Well, we've agreed that certainly education, international collaboration, and education of girls and promotion of women, which Kafui does in his company.
Right. I see. Why women?
Well, we believe in, women's empowerment. Most of the coders who started with the Asanka, which is a content delivery system that TechAide developed, which is supporting schools. The first developer was a lady. She did extremely well. And today, even as we speak, the IT developer for the Asanka is led still by a female. We trust in the work that females do. They're dedicated, they're hardworking. If they put their art to something, they do it really well. And I saw this when I worked with the IBM, the first lady, the leader of IBM in Ghana, and the team. I saw the dedication.
Right.
So we've supported girls, and to date, all the ICT centers, we want equal parity for the girls that access it, and the girls are doing wonderfully well. On Saturday, we dedicated a center at Bawe, Japhet Memorial School, and the programmers who were able to program the Arduino boards to do kind of an automatic hand washing machine with 2 girls.
Yeah.
We're very interested in supporting the females, not to say we're denigrating on males, but we're supporting them. And we're seeing the fruit of our work with girls in ICT. They're leading the effort. Our best center manager out of the 8 is a female, and she's in Tamale.
Yeah.
So nice. I'm going to give you the last word, but let me ask Japhet this quick question. Are you just in Ghana, or you're in other parts of the country?
That's what I was going to talk about.
Absolutely, yeah. So not just in Ghana, but we're also going to, we're in Gambia.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, we're going to Gambia next week to dedicate another ICT center there on July 15th. That will be the first time outside of Ghana. And I think we're going to go to other West African countries in the coming years.
Okay, well done. We have just a minute to go. I'm going to give you the last word, Doc.
So,
what would you like to tell Ghanaians of your vision as a people, this group?
Well, the global statement Kafui's already said. What I was leading into, that our promoter in Gambia is a woman I know. Her daughters and my daughter went to the same Quaker school. We call her Rocket Woman. She is a construction superintendent and a thought leader. It is a girls' school. St. Joseph's School is a girls' school, and it exemplifies everything we're saying to be able to work with her.
All right. Yes,
well, to close on that, if anybody wants to follow us, just go to the Yamoransamodel.org, Yamoransamodel.org.
How about social media?
Social media, yes, Yamoransa Model, and then Implementers GH. You can see all the work we're doing.
Do you accept funding as well?
Yes, we do. And the work started in Yamoransa. That's why it's a Yamoransa model. But it works everywhere with the 4 unique models of 2 ICT centers, a robotics center, and a conference room.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Dr. Deborah Rose, she's the president, Helping Africa and Friends of Yamoransa Foundations, and Mr. Japhet Aryiku, he's executive director, Helping Africa Foundation, and Mr. Kafui Predi, he's the CEO of TechAide and Implementers, and also the program manager for the Yamoransa model. Thank you so much for coming on the show, and you should follow them and offer some help. I'm sure that my followers are very benevolent and they can, you know, because you're doing some amazing work. Well done. Well done. I hope that you are told enough how much good work you're doing.
Thank you.
But that's it for the show. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be back same time tomorrow. In the meantime, but I'll be back at 11:30 for the midday news. But Expressive comes up next with Jackie and Bliskin. Good morning.
An expression of wellness and healthy living.